is there a Mustang in my garage? Wait, how much did I drink last night? What is up, YouTube? William King here, and today we have a very special video. A friend of mine has brought over their Mustang. This is not my Mustang, and is asked to do some work on it. So today we're actually going to be installing an American Racing headers, yeah, should be pretty entertaining. So before we get into the video, please make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's do it. All right, Chris, what have you put in my garage?
I have put a 2013 Mustang 5.0. Only has 43,000 miles on it, so she's been taken care of. Right now, we are in your garage because I just got my package from American Racing. Got some 1 3/4 inch long tubes with high flow catted mid pipe.
And of course, you just drove it over here, so it is insanely hot.
Still hot.
It's
yes.
Arizona. It's actually a nice day today, but
it is a pretty nice day today.
Still hot. Very dirty.
Very dirty.
Couldn't give me a clean car.
No.
But
it is Arizona. Nothing is ever clean in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have the parts yet, so I guess that gives us a little bit of time to cool down while the parts arrive, right?
Yes.
And
the wifey is bringing the parts in her Jeep.
All right. Well, that should be interesting. All right, so this is the American Racing headers kit for the 5.0 Mustang engine. You got the 2 gorgeous long pipe headers, X pipe, high flow cats, and check these out. These are well, you can see in there, but man, oh, that's going to allow for a lot of airflow. Those are some pretty big holes in that cat, so that should help quite a bit. So this is not a catless system, but does come with some nice high flow cats. It's got the pretty decent welds on all of the O2 sensor bungs. Kit comes with gaskets, clamps, a bunch of 10mm bolts, some extensions for the O2 sensors, and of course American Racing stickers, you know, for that extra 10 horsepower per sticker. So yeah, not a bad kit. Looks pretty good.
Put it on there and just hold it down for a minute. That's it. Yeah, go. Yeah, turning it. There you go.
All right, I'll just hold it in place. So what are you taking off the
motor mount real quick?
Mount?
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right, so we got the 3 bolts off of the engine mount. That 3rd bolt, really hard to see up in there, hard to get to. You got a lot of stuff in the way.
The electrical harness.
And stuff. So the passenger side is really going to be your trouble side. Chris is working on the driver's side right now. Much easier. There's almost nothing in the way on the driver's side. Now, another thing to note, if you're trying to like not disconnect your cats and leave them, it's almost impossible to get to the bolts on the cats. So we can leave those on because we're taking the whole headers off anyways. So we should be able to just disconnect down here because all of that's got to go down to that H pipe. Should be able to just drop all of that stuff and then drop the headers. Now we are going to have to lift the engine up. So we're going to try and see what we can do because we don't want to crush in the oil pan. So we need to brace that somehow. We might have to lift based off of the tranny. We just want to be very careful because, you know, that is a joint or bolts that hold the transmission to the engine. You don't want to break or shear any of those, and then you have a really big problem. So we got to be very careful about how we're going to lift that. All right, so quick little update. So this here is the motor mount, and there's actually 4 holes. There's 4 bolts holding it on that we did not anticipate. We thought it was only 3, but it's actually 4. So with the 4 bolts, there are 2 bolts that look like this, standard threaded bolt, and then there are 2 bolts that are like this, where they're a stud and a nut system, where the nut's been welded onto the stud. Now the problem that we're having is on the passenger side, the side that has the least amount of clearance, the nut has sheared off the stud and left the stud inside the engine, which means when we jack the engine up, we have just enough clearance to slide these off and get them out. But because the tolerances are so tight, we actually don't have enough clearance to get the engine mount up over the tip of the stud, which means that we can't get it off. So now we have to do a different tactic that we didn't really want to do, but now we're going to have to do it. So we've actually taken the wheels off, and we're actually going to have to drop the K member assembly. So what that's going to look like,
2 bolts there.
We got the 2 bolts in the back there,
2 bolts up here. Right here. 1, 2.
Yep.
And then the same for and then reverse for the other side as well.
Yeah, so the K member is all along here, goes down, makes the K shape. That's the name. That's currently holding the engine up, actually. So we're gonna have to jack the engine back up, which you can see we've already dented in the oil pan a little bit in our early attempts, but we've got it sorted, so it's not doing that anymore. So we're gonna have to jack the engine up, disconnect the bolts on the K member. We're actually gonna have to put another jack underneath the K member, jack it up because it's kind of heavy and we're on the ground. And then once we get the last bolts loosened, we're gonna have to lower it using the jack and then roll it out of the way. Once that's out of the way, there will actually be nothing holding the engine up other than the jack and the tranny mounts in the rear. So we will be in a slight precarious situation as we're getting the headers off. So we'll have to be very careful about that. But yeah, should be entertaining. Okay, so another quick update. So we're on the passenger side here, and we ran into some issues. So the first is that bolt, that nut right there. I mean, you can't get to it at all. There's barely any room. We can get a wrench up in here, but then we can't get like enough force to get it loose. So we're having problems there. So what we're probably going to end up doing here is what we did right here. We actually had cut the pipe in order for us to get to that bolt right there. And the reason why we had to do that is the AC line is directly in the way, and we had the pipe coming out right here, so we had no room whatsoever. So at least now we have a little bit more room. We can get some wrenches and sockets in here. It's still really tight, so we're gonna probably go to the hardware store, see if we can get a different tool for the job that might work better than what we have. But that's where we're at here. The nice thing though is over on the driver's side, it is completely disconnected. So we have it completely separated on the driver's side. We got the O2 sensors disconnected there and back there. So we got the two O2 sensors disconnected. That's all ready to go. So the only thing that's holding it up is the H pipe, which we can just disconnect from the H. Once we get the passenger side disconnected on the block, disconnect from the H pipe, and we should be good to go. So that is where we are.
I got the
now.
king number off.
All right, so we have done it. We have the exhaust out of the Mustang. So we didn't actually need to disconnect any of that. We just needed to disconnect down at the H pipe because the new exhaust goes from the headers down to a new X pipe that connects back to where the H pipe connected. So yeah, so now the next part is getting the new headers up there, and we'll be doing that piece by piece. And just make sure that when you're doing this job at home, this is all bare steel, so you don't want to touch it with your bare hands. Otherwise you will leave fingerprints, which will eventually rust and could cause problems. So we will be wearing gloves as we're putting that up, just so that way we don't have to worry about that. Alternatively, if you don't have any gloves, you couldn't put it up and then just make sure you wipe your fingerprints off, use brake clean, get everything off, so that way you don't have any of those oils or anything on there and you don't have fingerprints showing up. Shouldn't really be too big of an issue, but something to make sure you don't, something to make sure to do. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, so originally the headers were in with this stud and nut system into the block, but the kit actually comes with bolts. And so we actually want to swap out, instead of using the studs, because you'll run into issues where the nuts don't come off the studs and what have you. So we want to pull the studs out and switch to the bolts. Now, the nice thing is these studs are actually equipped on the end with a reverse Torx bit. So you can actually get these off by using a 6mm socket. Will actually bite into it enough for you to get it off. Also, 1/4-inch socket also works as well. You can get it off. Now these are smaller sockets, so you do have to be careful. You don't want to break anything, so you got to be gentle, even pressure, because the last thing you want to do is break one of these off inside your engine block. Alright, so we're getting ready to install the headers. So we already got the driver's side done, just tightening it down right now. So the first thing to do is you want to put in the bottom nuts or bolts just a little bit loose, just so they're finger threaded. The reason why we're doing this is the gasket has holes or perforations on the bottom side, so we can actually just slide it on with it already set, and the headers are the same way. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna drop this real fast. Okay. Drop this down. Drop it like it's hot. I just realized something. The top is notched on that.
So we're going from the top first, or?
Yeah, because we can thread. Sorry.
Got it.
See, we're bending the gasket. So we go from the top.
Yeah.
First, the gasket can't go anywhere. Can't move now. Now you're stuck. And that's the hard side anyways. Alright, so we got the headers all buttoned up. Have the exhaust laid out. Unfortunately, when we were taking the headers off, one of the pipes twisted into the wrong direction. Because we have the front of the car jacked up, we don't actually have a lot in the way of room in order to get that squared. So we're actually going to leave that off until the end. So we're actually getting the front of the car buttoned back up. So we already have the engine mount bolted back on the driver's side. We put the starter back in and it's bolted up. And Chris is currently bolting up the driver's side engine mount.
Deep side sock.
And you had it. There. So he's getting that side all buttoned up. I believe after that we can put the K member back up, right?
Correct.
Right, so that heavy piece of shit. And it has to go back up in the right position. So that's gonna be fun. Alright, so while we're working on this, I understand that I don't really have a lot of filler in the way of us, wrenching on things, working on things. And as entertaining as it is to watch a bunch of fat dudes wrench on stuff
and
constantly, groan and grunt and drop our pants and lift our shirts up as we roll around on the ground all sweaty, like, I understand that that's super entertaining, but you're just gonna have to picture it in your head and go from there. So we get on the K member here. I might be able to see if I can position the camera to where we can film it while we're working on it, just so we don't have enough hands. And I also don't really want to ruin my camera to film a Mustang. So there's that as well. Yeah, the K member needs to go back just a little bit more. I was able to wiggle that. I can't reach it. Can you get your hand up in there?
Hold on. I mean, let me
Looks
just.
like you're in the hole.
Hold on. Let me see. Move. That's that.
All right. We have finished buttoning the car back up. Hooking the battery up. Very last step. Got all the exhaust buttoned up. Got everything buttoned up. Wish you could show more of the process, but like I said, it's pretty hard to film in here because we're on the ground. We're not up on a lift, so it's hard to see all of the details. But all in all, the install was a giant pain in the ass. I would not recommend doing this on the ground. If you can get a lift, definitely get a lift. This was very hard work. Took what could have been an easy one-day job, turned into a 2-week process. It was very tiring. A lot of the stuff that we had to take off was stuff that was never designed to come off. So it was very tight. But yeah, everything's buttoned up. So we're gonna get the first start up here.
That's not going over 400.
You are smoking me out. It smells like barbecue.
Hey, that's what happens when you put the headers in.
Yeah.
It'll go away.
Yeah, I know.
And I wasn't even past 400.
Yeah.
Or 4,000.
You are going to be very annoying driving down the road. All right, guys. We got the new headers in, and man, are they loud. It's not like a piercing noise. It's more like just there's so much vibrations in the air from it that it just cancels out all other noise. Like, so my ears aren't like ringing or anything, and it's really quiet at idle, but going up just over 400 or 800 RPM, like it's so loud. It's insane. And I got all that smoke still coming out of the exhaust. That's just because they're brand new. That's all of the treatment from the metal coming off, burning off. That'll go away. But oh, they sound sick. Yeah. Are you happy, Chris?
I am very happy. We got to get this smoke to come out, and then you know, go for right around town, man.
Yeah.
Want to give thanks to you for helping me. Let me use your garage, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you to you as well for putting up with our stuff.
Not a problem.
But man. Oh my God. Oh, that sounds so good. Sounds so good.
It's so loud. Oh man.
And that's not even what past.
I barely tapped 3,000 RPM. Just a little quick little ram up to 3, and that was it. Oh man, that's healthy.
Woo! That she sounds nice, boys.
Oh, so happy to be done. All in all, the American Racing kit itself was actually really good.
Really good.
It was a solid kit.
1
It,
3/4 inch.
Yeah, you know, it went on relatively easily. The parts they gave were great. Like the welds could have been a little bit cleaner, but they were still solid. I don't think you're gonna have any exhaust leaks. It's just the process. This is not a process to be taken lightly. If you are thinking about doing this yourself, you know, make sure you understand the amount of work you are putting
That's that one.
yourself through. So yeah. Well, all right, everybody, we're gonna sign off. This is William King here with Death Scythe Engineering, and I hope you all have an awesome day.